Hello friends, and thank you for joining us here at Not Toxic Home. As always, we are glad that you are here. So we are at the end of our week and we're both utterly exhausted. I'm sure we look like it, but it was brought to our attention about the new Biden stuff. And this is pretty important. I know a lot of people are kind of freaking out about it, and I understand. But remember, no fear ever for any reason, period. The fact is that the world is falling apart. It is indeed. This video, we are not going to have a bunch of links below like we usually do. I need to get it up quickly, so I will link below to my article that's relatively recent, that's entitled Questions to Ask as Mandates Roll Out, because that's pretty all-encompassing about what we have seen in 2020 and 2021. Just some critical thought questions. Think independently, use your corona, think for yourself, and stand firm in what you know to be true. So we wanted to address the whole thing that we just watched from Biden.
I got a phone call from a gentleman who had been looking at our website, looking at our blog stuff, and called with some concerns. We'll take care of him a little bit later, but he is the one who brought to my attention that something was out about Biden, because we don't pay attention to it.
Nope.
We don't feel like we need to. But now that we told you in previous videos that different situations would bring this kind of stuff to our attention as we needed to know it. And this is one of those examples. We had no clue.
Right. By the way, please don't call unless it's for local work. But please do email, comment on the blog, and you can also use our contact us form. If you get our newsletter, just hit reply. I'm doing better about catching all those emails. But thank you, person who did call, because that did bring that to our attention.
So some of this is to you if you're still looking at stuff, and we'll address you separately later.
Yeah.
So anyway, but go ahead.
Okay, so toxins are toxic no matter how they get into your body. This is non-toxic home. This isn't fill your body with toxic chemicals home. All right, so no matter how they get in your body, they're toxic. I've already told you that I will link to the article about questions to ask as the world falls apart. But that article, I do have a link to my research on that topic, in which I researched it full time for over a year independently. I didn't have any preconceived notions at that time. And so that article has that link to it. But remember, no one has the right, no matter who they are, to poison you, or to tell you to poison yourself, or to tell you to hurt yourself. Similarly, no one has the right to take the breath of life from your body. So this video is going to go up on YouTube. So we, as well as all of our other streaming platforms, and because we respect YouTube, we have to choose our words carefully.
And I appreciate her telling me that, and that way I haven't messed up at this point. So.
Yep.
But I think we can safely say this without any trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, from when you were 99% of people at least,
Here in the US.
Can't ever say everyone. It's always got to be an exception somewhere. You went through school and you were taught government-related things. You were taught how governments at the state level and at the federal level are, how they're comprised, and you were taught that the federal government has a House of Representatives and the Senate, and you were taught that at each state level they have the same setup. though we've mentioned this in videos before, that is how laws are made.
Mm-hmm.
They are not made in any other fashion.
And they are not made by acronym agencies that are operating illegally here in the U.S., especially when they are privately held corporations, such as the CDC. Research it. Don't believe anything we say. Go research it for yourself, and you'll find that our statements are absolutely fact-based.
So, I guess the next question is, because I had a question, we had to discuss it briefly. Who is really in control right now? Is the federal government, is President Biden really in control? When Trump was president, he declared, what was it he declared?
Thanks for putting me on the spot, honey, like you love to do. So when Trump declared the pandemic to be a national state of emergency, then based on executive orders and laws and all sorts of other documents that I have read myself, I went to the source and read myself. According to those documents, when a state of emergency is declared, such as a pandemic here in the United States, then the reins are handed over to FEMA. Is that what happened? Don't know. Is FEMA in control right now? I don't know. I don't know anybody from FEMA. Do you?
Is FEMA in control? Is that the United
Nations? Is it the New World Order who's in control? Who is running the show here? Well, if you listen to our other videos, you know that we are not Republican, we're not Democrat, we're not anything in between, because we follow the money. We know the truth.
Yeah. Politicians
are puppets. The United States is a combination of communism and fascism. This isn't anything new. This wasn't new in 2020. It's not new in 2021. Right? Communism is when the state tells the companies and corporations what to do. Fascism is when the companies and corporations tell the state what to do. Here in the United States, it's a strange mesh of the two.
Yep.
If you look at what politicians actually do with at least half of their time based on peer-reviewed studies, then you would know that a lot of their time is spent just getting money for their next campaign. So if they were actually for the people, would they be doing that, or would they be doing the actual work that they were voted in to do? Well, I think that's pretty telling. Follow the money. The love of money is the root of all evil.
And some financial video people will tell you that when laws are being constructed, one of the last things to happen is the items that, say, Senator whoever from the state of whichever was given $100,000 to put this in this bill. That is when that kind of stuff happens.
And there's lots of websites that follow the money for all the politicians. So if FEMA is indeed in control, which is up for debate as to whether that is legal and whether it's actually happened or not, I don't know. I'm not part of the government, don't want to be part of the government, no thank you. Then the judges, there have been multiple judges who have published articles in the past couple years. Basically, some of them say, yes, FEMA should be in control, it's legal, and there are others that say the opposite, which is true, I don't know. But if that is the case, then our Constitution is legally suspended here in the United States, if that is the case. Now, certainly the governors and the president, in my opinion, well, presidents, because it was Trump and Biden, have been conducting themselves as though there is no Constitution, wouldn't you think, since March 2020? That's my opinion. I think that's how they've been acting. They've been acting like tyrannical little leaders, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Little dictators. And so, I don't know. Which is it? I don't know. Does it really matter?
And you know where we come from when we do these videos, and we have I'm not going to mention. If you see our channel, you'll find that we have SEAL videos up in general. Right now, we are in the first SEAL, and you have, and we told you in previous videos that the decisions would get harder and harder and harder. Well, I would safely say that some of your decisions just got a little harder. Are you going to choose God, or are you going to choose mammon? Right now, some of you in our community may work for some of the companies. If companies are 100 employees or larger, they have been instructed to make their employees get shots.
Don't say that word.
Okay. Okay.
It's okay.
So you have a choice to make. Are you going to stay with that company and do what they want you to do? Or are you going to leave that company and go somewhere where you don't have to? That's up to you. That's the choice that you have to make. What Biden had to say can really apply to you, or it cannot apply to you.
Right.
It's your choice.
And there are so many small businesses desperately seeking good employees, or any employees at all, even not good employees, just somebody to be there, even without a brain hardly. So to say that there aren't any other jobs, no, there are so many jobs, there are so many options. If you are afraid, well, here's the thing: fear puts you in chains. Do not have any fear. I will link to the video that we've got up about fear, because if you listen to that entire message, you might have walked away fearful of a civil W. It's a 3-letter word. Think of the American civil W. All right, I can't say that word.
I know it got her amped up just a little bit.
It did a little bit, because I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about the truth behind the American W. And in that case, the federal government said, states, you don't get the right to choose what to do. You don't have this power. The authority lies with the federal government. What did I see Biden saying? The authority lies with the federal government, not with the states. He openly threatened governors. Openly.
He got down to the camera and said, "I'm coming after you."
And he threatened the American citizens as well. Those are both pretty big triggers for a 3-letter W. We are not advising violence.
No.
Violence is never the answer. Ever.
Honestly, we've got videos up, or videos were put up even last week, and nothing in this world has to change for you if you choose it not to. It is your choice what you do, not ours. We've made our choice. We're sticking with it.
We choose peace. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Because our minds are stayed on the Lord. When this came out, we didn't even know anything about it.
Yeah.
And when we watched it, we didn't completely lose our minds and freak out about it, as some people are, who don't have their minds stayed on the world that is to come rather than on this temporal world.
The other part of his message had to do with companies and places that he did not have the authority to, and he said this in his video. He said, "I don't have the authority to make these people do this, but in a plead, he brought stadiums, and what did I say in a previous video, where you might have to make a choice whether you get to go to your favorite NFL teams, all their games. I can't think of what that term is called at the moment, but I said that might come into play. Well, he literally just said stadiums and entertainment venues pleaded with them that if they didn't want to, basically you gotta get yourself taken care of, or show negative testing. So that was part of that. And then one of the things that, those might not apply to you, but I can imagine, he got down like this and said, family physicians, you're the most trusted that the American people have to look to. I'm pleading with you. Basically did that. You still, when you go to the doctor, if you have something really bad going on, you still have a choice. That doctor's going to do that, most likely. You still sitting in there, it probably remind you of peer pressure. You still have a choice.
But this is not new. The difficulty in ensuring that you are permitted to make your own medical decisions. This isn't a new problem. No. All right. When I was super, super, super sick and barely able to think for myself, if he wasn't able to come, then I had a friend who went to doctor's appointments with me to advocate for me. Because you have got to be on your game. And that was as of 2012, 2013. You had to be on your game when you went to a doctor's appointment to know and be able to say, no, this is not for me. This does not help me. This makes me feel sick. I've done my research. No. It's going to get worse, obviously.
And I want to share with you one thing, because now that doctors seem to be under even more pressure, if you've gone to a doctor for years and you love that doctor, man or woman, you have a great relationship with them, you've worked with them for years, and you completely trust them. If you go to that doctor and all of a sudden their demeanor changes, or they start saying things a little bit different than they used to, that is a warning sign, my friends, that doctor has something financially or professionally has changed with that doctor.
No, go ahead.
In a way that is not good for you. So you have two choices, actually three. You can get up and leave. You can sit through the rest of the appointment knowing that, something just happened. And I guess part of that choice is to never go back to that doctor. We ran into that a few years ago. We had an allergist in Lafayette that we went to, and it was clear.
He had been bought by industry. And this was in regards to EMFs, by the way, and I did write an article on it in which I proved that he was a lying liar face, and he completely flipped his switch. Complete opposite from what he had said before. Complete opposite. And he was flailing his arms and his legs. He was sneering. Wow. If that happens to your doctor, turn around and leave. It's okay to do that. It's okay to fire your doctor.
Yeah, we want to remind you, that doctor works for you.
Yes, you do not work for the doctor. So I will link to that article as well.
So we watched the video, and it's understandable. It's actually not understandable. Watch our video on the fear. It is. You got to make a decision. You got to sit down. I mean, read your Bible.
Yeah, but I will also link to our first and second seal video in which we prove, hey, we are in the first seal. And there's been so much more confirmation besides that. If you look up the word tribulation in the Greek, one of the things that it says is pressure. Pressure. So you're going to feel pressure. Do you feel peer pressure? Because your president, if you live in the United States, is just trying to peer pressure you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's peer pressure, my friend. And if you get on social media, peer pressure. Besides that, of course, trials. You're going to have to make a choice, as we have already discussed. That's a big, huge part of the first seal. You got to choose. Do you serve God, who is beyond this world, who is eternal, and you have the choice to have eternal life with him? Or do you serve the temporal God of this world, Satan, and his little underling, Mammon? Mammon is, of course, the false god of money. That's, if Satanists want to summon money, they summon Mammon. It's a devil. Which do you serve? You got to make a choice. As we said, there are jobs out there with employers who will not be impacted with the 100 employee or more thing. There are employers out there, small business owners, such as ourselves, who know the truth. And some to different extents. Some just say, hey, I'm a gun-toting liberal. No, not liberal, but gun. I just use that word. I shouldn't say that word either. Gummy bear toting. Freedom loving person. And they won't make you do things that are against God's law. You have to choose God's law or man's law. That we're just seeing the start of that. If you think that the past 2 years have been difficult, you haven't seen anything yet. This is nothing like what's going to come. These choices, if you've had difficult choices, just wait. They're going to get much harder than this. And as to when the second seal will be opened, we have no idea. There's no way to know that. If anyone tells you that they have a date, no, they don't know that.
They're totally lying to you.
Yeah, and in this day and age, most so-called Christians are not actually following the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. They're following their pastor and their denomination right to the gates of heck. And it's a sad statement to make, but it's a fact-based one. And there aren't any, unfortunately, denominations that are following the one true God wholly and entirely. So it can be a lonely road to make the right decisions, but I assure you, even if you just look at the comment section on the YouTube video for the CBS announcement, that special report.
Did you
there? I did. And almost all of the comments that I looked at were people who are of the same understanding that we are, for the most part, who see the truth, who see that the media lies about everything. If you browse through our website, you will see that almost everything is a lie that we are told today is the truth. Science isn't scientific. It's not fact-based at all. Everything's propaganda. Follow the money. So we hope that this has calmed your nerves a little bit about what's going on. Obviously, you might have a difficult decision to make, but you have to be eternally minded.
And there are also there were also things in his video about like schools and things like that, and I guess without going into that too much, she mentioned earlier, you get our newsletter, you can respond to that. If you have questions about alternatives to anything, maybe you're trying to make some choices and you're just not sure where to go, feel free to ask them.
Thank you for volunteering me in many videos recently. I really appreciate that, because I don't have enough to do.
We're here to help
I just sit here and twiddle my thumbs all day.
We're here to help people.
Yes, we are here to help people. But I'm exhausted. Don't you love it when your spouse just volunteers you for things? But sincerely, though, we do respond to as many questions as we can. We are here to help people. We serve the Most High God, God of Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham. We do not serve Mammon. We do not serve Satan. And those who are currently trying to tell you to poison yourself, which, by the way, does impact your ability to commune with Holy Ghost. Those who are telling you to do that are of the synagogue of Satan. Everything that we are seeing right now is the fulfillment of prophecy. So if you are seeing, okay, well, pharmakeia, there's another, man, I wasn't going to do many links, but you have got to see our video, our first video, and read that article on pharmakeia, my friend, if you have not yet, because it is absolutely essential information. The world is run, obviously, by Mystery Babylon, but pharmakeia is a huge part of that. And so when we see this coming from the president of our country, and we see what the governors are saying and the governors are doing, we have peace in knowing this is just the fulfillment of prophecy. And so what's happening is the Most High is putting on the hearts of these evil people to fulfill what he has said will happen, just like he did with Pharaoh, just like he did with King Herod.
And Biden literally threatened governors who weren't falling in line with what everybody else was supposed to be doing. So if that doesn't tell you something about what's going on, I don't know what does.
Right. But remember, we battle not against flesh and blood, flesh and bone. This is a spiritual battle. This is spiritual W word. Thank you so much for being here. We are unable to monitor social media. We don't monitor comments on our streaming platforms. Sorry about that. We just don't have time. So we do very much appreciate any positive feedback that you have to give us, and anything that you just have to say that says, hey, good job, thanks for speaking the truth, that is warming to our souls. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to sign up for a weekly newsletter if you haven't already, and just stand firm. No fear. Have no fear at all.
Non-toxic out.